Hey everyone, I am going to give you a virtual resource. Right now during this time, I am totally looking forward to being able to actually see you all in person again and do our in-service trainings and do our wellness portion of that face-to-face. But until then, I'm going to do my best to just give you a resource that you can do from home that we will be working on breathing, mobility, and balance. So just a variety of exercises, some yoga, some different stretching, and different balance work. And of course, really important right now during this time is our breathing. So working toward getting a full capacity breath can be super, super helpful during a time where a respiratory illness is what we're trying to avoid contracting. So not only building immunity, but also working directly in the lungs themselves on that full capacity breath. So during our practice today, really focusing on that ability to take the breath down deep into the lungs. We call it diaphragmatic breath, so just meaning that the diaphragm has the space to drop down and expand out to really pull as much air into the lungs as possible. So to do that, we need to be able to expand the lowest part of our ribs outward so that the diaphragm can come down and really get that volume of lung increase that we're looking for. So as you're drawing your breath in, focus on relaxing your abdominal muscles, and then as you're pressing the breath out, you are re-engaging the abdominal muscles and what I like to call knitting your low ribs in toward one another. So we'll start today with a little bit of breathing, and then I'll move back to my mat and we'll move through our more full range of motion exercises. So if you would, just sit comfortably. You may want to elevate yourself up onto a pillow, a blanket, or even in a chair. Absolutely nothing wrong with sitting in a chair so that you're not feeling stress and strain and discomfort in your hamstrings or your hips while you're trying to focus on getting your full capacity breath. So find a good spot, a good solid, stable, comfortable place to sit. And then take a moment to just lift your shoulders up toward your ears, take a breath in, maybe lift your chin a little bit as well, and as you exhale, lower your shoulders down like you're sliding your shoulder blades into your back pockets. And then do that a couple more times. Take a breath in, raise your shoulders high. As you exhale, lower your shoulders down the back. Do that again, and you can even take what's called a clearing breath. Inhale through the nose, and then open the mouth. Exhale it out. And then from there, take one hand, place it onto your upper abdomen where you can kind of feel your lowest ribs, and you're going to take the other hand and put it onto your upper chest. Take your breath in and just feel how the hands kind of stretch apart from one another. And then exhale, think of knitting your ribs in and back. The hands come a little closer to one another. Inhale, expansive breath. And then exhale, just use a little bit of musculature to press your breath out. Twice more. Awesome. From there, take your hands down to the floor near your hips. You're going to walk your hands back a little bit. You can come onto the palms of your hands. If you're seated in a chair, you're just going to kind of hold on to the chair behind you, and then just lift your chest up high, lift your chin again so that your throat is nice and open. Take a deep breath in and exhale it out. And then walk the hands out to the side. We're going to do a little bit of a lean over to the left. Again, if you have a chair, you can hook your fingers underneath the seat. Otherwise, you're just going to place your hand on the floor. You're going to stretch your right arm up high toward the ceiling. Keep breathing. And then come back to center. Switch your hands. You're going to take your hand down to the floor. You're going to stretch your left hand up high. You're leaning just a little bit over to the right. Kind of roll your chest back so that your chest is still open. You can look up, you can look straight, you can look down and see which one feels best for your neck. Just think of lots of length coming down through the left fingertips down the arm, down through the side of your body. And then come back to center. All right, from here, we're gonna make our way onto a hands and knees position. So I'm gonna just move my way back to my mat here. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I'm using these little earbuds that have a microphone on them. My apologies if the sound quality is not awesome. Hands and knees. You're gonna move into a cat stretch with your exhale. Round your back, and then keep your back rounded. You're gonna shift your hips backward toward your heels just a little bit. Now spend a couple of breaths here. You can take a slight tuck of your chin toward your chest, feeling a lot of space between the shoulder blades, the mid-back, the upper back. And then ease your way back into your tabletop position. You're gonna lower your abdomen down, just relax the belly down, lift your chest, lift your chin, and you're gonna tuck your toes under. So ideally you're doing this barefoot. You can do this with shoes on, but hopefully you're in the comfort of your own home and you feel fine taking your shoes off and getting into your bare feet. Take a breath in and then flatten your feet down to the floor, round your back slowly, tailbone all the way up through the top of your head. Press your hips back, spend a couple of breaths, just stretching, pressing into your hands. And then ease your way back to neutral. You're gonna take that position once again, belly lowers down, chest lifts, chin lifts, tuck your toes under. So you're pressing your toes into the ground behind you, almost in an effort to send your chest a little farther out in front of you. Now, relax to a neutral position through your spine. Your belly button is coming up toward your spine, up toward the ceiling. We'll send our right leg back behind us and just feel a little bit of challenge to your balance here. Equal your body weight into your right and your left hands. Now from there, you're gonna turn your right toes out. You're gonna let your right hip and your right leg turn out. Try to equalize the body weight still into your right and left hands, both hands. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, you're gonna draw the right knee up toward your right arm. Now breathe in. Press your leg back, exhale, draw your knee toward the back of your arm. One more time. This is great for balance and for hip joint mobility. Breathe out, draw the knee toward the arm, and then press the leg back. Now we're gonna release the right knee back down toward the floor. Take a little shift of your body weight back to offload the wrist, to give your wrists a little bit of relief. And then you're gonna come right back to that neutral position. Left leg comes back behind you, gather your balance. You're gonna turn the toes out, the whole hip rotates out a little bit. Breathe in, and then draw the knee up toward the arm. So you breathe out, press the leg back, and pull the knee in. One more time. Exhale. Inhale, reach your leg long, release the knee back down to the ground, and then child's pose. Press your hips back toward your heels. Now, to get our hips down and back as much as we can, we sometimes need to elevate the head. So if your head doesn't comfortably rest down to the floor, no problem at all. Just create a couple of fists, set your head on top of your fists. One other alternative that I really like to take is to prop onto the elbows and to actually cup the eyes and forehead into the palms of your hands. Take a couple of breaths. And then return to your tabletop. From tabletop, we'll tuck our toes under, lift the hips into downward facing dog. You're gonna keep your knees pretty bent. You're gonna keep your hips lifted high, and do your best to push into the floor in front of you. Straighten your arms so that you stretch really long through your upper body. With this bend in our knees, we avoid a positioning that sometimes looks a little bit more like this, like some sort of high plank downward dog hybrid that really doesn't allow us to stretch very well at all. So bend your knees, reach your hips back, lift your sitting bones, the backs of your hips up high, and just let your head relax. You might even nod and shake your head a time or two. Take one more breath here. All right, walk your feet forward nice and slow. Just take it easy. Walk your feet all the way up toward the top of your mat. And then we'll bring our hands to our hips, slowly come up to a stand. Now I'm gonna just turn toward the camera so you can kind of see what's happening a little bit better. Take your feet out wider than your hip distance apart. And then take a deep breath in. You're gonna stretch your arms up overhead, reach your hands high, and then exhale and come into a forward fold. Just bring your hands down toward the ground. Slide your fingertips up high on the shins, just below your kneecaps. Take a little higher than halfway lift so your chest is higher than your hips. And then exhale, bend your knees, come back into your forward fold. Let the weight of your head be kind of heavy down toward the ground if you can here. So pretty generous bend in the knees. And then slowly roll your way up to a stand. So you're stacking the vertebra of the spine one at a time. And then go out and up overhead with your hands once again. Exhale your hands down. Relax your hands down at your sides. Take a few circles of your wrists. And then you're gonna scoot your feet in close together. So having the feet in close, right away we might feel a little more challenge to our balance. We're gonna come into chair pose from here. So your body weight's gonna shift into your heels. You're gonna outstretch your hands in front of you to counter the weight of your hips moving back in space. Take another breath. And then stand all the way up, reach high through your hands, breathe in, come into your forward fold, your stretch as you exhale. The stretch might feel a little more intense, having your feet in close rather than wide. And then shift your body weight into your right foot. You're gonna step your left foot back very long on your mat, just coming to a lunge. Now work your right foot over a little wider so that your torso has space to sit at the inside of your right thigh. We'll bring the back knee down onto the floor, onto your mat, and then you're gonna climb your hands up to the top of your thigh. So you're pressing your hands. We're gonna put our right hand in place on our thigh first. The left hand's just gonna come over top of it. Press a little more firmly into your front foot. So come into a more upright position. And then with your exhale, you're gonna bend your knee and come in a little deeper to the stretch. Now stay there, leave your right hand in place. You're gonna stretch your left arm up alongside your ear, and you're gonna lean ever so slightly off to the right. You can also think of leaning back and pressing your right hand into your thigh. One more breath, really tapping into a stretch at our hip flexor on our left leg. And then release your left hand down to the ground. Now we're gonna tuck the left toes, lift your left knee up off of your mat. You're gonna keep this right hand in place on top of your thigh. Press against the thigh, you're twisting now, turning, and you can have the option to reach your right hand up toward the ceiling. Keep breathing, keep stretching, and also keep strengthening your left leg. Straighten your left leg behind you as much as you can. Release your right hand down to the floor. You're gonna release your left knee once again down to the ground. And then come to half splits. Now, if you've got something to support you, I've got these weights off to the right. So I'm just gonna take my hand to the weights. Sometimes the ground is just a little too far away to reach for. It can be too intense of a stretch. So if you wanna come up, you wanna elevate a little bit, that is totally fine. Couple more breaths in your half splits, hamstring stretch. And then ease your way forward from your half splits. You're gonna bring your right knee back so that it's next to your left. You're gonna keep your hips right over your knee, but you're gonna walk your hands forward. Extended puppy pose. You're gonna press your chest down toward the ground, stay really active through your arms. Just stretching the chest down, keeping your hips high, keeping your hands active. And then lift with the strength of your abdominal muscles, pull your chest up away from your mat. Walk your hands back from here. You're gonna come onto your forearms. Now you can either stay on your knees or you can step your feet all the way back. So either a full forearm plank or a modified kneeling plank. 2 more breaths. If you have your knees lifted, go ahead and release the knees down. You're going to release your thighs down. Your abdomen comes down. Your hands are going to come out wide, out from the shoulders. You're going to press the tops of your feet down to the floor. Lift up, take a breath in, cobra, and then exhale, come forward once again. Now do that twice more. Again, working with this full capacity of our breath. Inhale as you lift and broaden your chest. Exhale as you slowly come forward once again. Inhale, rise up. And exhale, come down. Bring your hands back into place. Super strong and stable at the sides of your chest. Tuck your toes and lift up if you're kneeling or full plank to downward dog. Again, pretty generous bend in the knees. Lift your hips high, maybe shake your head out. And then walk your feet all the way up toward the top of your mat. Slide your fingertips up high on your shins. Take a breath in. And then come back into your hamstring stretch, your forward fold as you exhale. Stand tall, bring your arms up high above you. Breathe in. Feel the stretch at your rib cage. And then exhale your hands down all the way next to your hips. Work your feet in close. We're going to come back into that chair pose, sitting the hips down and back as you reach your arms as a counterweight to balance out in front of you. Now this time in our chair pose, we're going to move into a twist. So you're going to bring your palms together. You're going to rotate toward the left. You're going to bring your right elbow toward the left knee or thigh. Keep very little weight in your elbow. Use your core strength. And then come back through center. Breathe in. Lift a little bit. Give your legs some relief. And then exhale. Twist in the opposite direction. Sit your hips back. Lift your shoulders and your chest higher than your hips. The more you sit your body weight back and into the heels, the more you'll be able to lift your body weight out of your elbow. Now come all the way back to center. Stretch tall, reach high, breathe in, release forward with your exhale. Take a half lift, just give yourself a little space to breathe in, and then exhale your breath out as you move deeper into your stretch. Your body weight's going to stay in your left foot. You're going to step your right foot back really long. We tend to not step back long enough in our lunge. Work your left foot over a little farther to the left so that you have lots of space at the inside of your thigh. Back knee comes down, left hand presses to the thigh, right hand just comes over top of it. We move into a more upright position, more of a 90-degree bend in our knee. Take a breath in, and then you're going to move in a little deeper to your lunge with your breath out. Left hand stays in place. Our right arm comes up alongside of our ear, and then you're leaning just a little bit to the left. And you might even lean back to get that full stretch through your hip flexor on your right side. Make sure you're breathing. And then as you come back down, the right hand's going to land at the mat. We're going to tuck your back toes, lift your back knee, press your left palm against your thigh. You're rotating, you're twisting, and then there's an option to reach your hand high. Might feel good for you, might not feel good for you. So you can leave it on your thigh, or you can take your hand up high to the ceiling. And just experiment with where it feels right to rest your gaze. So looking up might feel good, looking straight, or looking down. Slowly release, bring your back knee down. You're going to stretch long through your front leg. And again, your hands can come to your hips. You can use a little help from something for balance. But just starting to pull this hip crease back, stretch your chest out towards your toes. Try not to harbor any unnecessary tension in your neck and shoulders. One more breath on this side. All right, ease your way back toward lunge, but then we're going to bring the left knee back to join the right. Find your extended puppy pose once again. So the hands are going to come out in front of you. You're going to stretch your chest down toward the ground. If you want a little more mobility, you can actually come up onto your finger pads and press your chest down a little lower. Do what is right, not only for your chest, but also for your wrists, elbows, and shoulders. And then slowly start to lift up, walk your hands back a little bit. We're going to come onto the forearms, once again, just as we did before. And you'll either scoot your knees back to come to kneeling plank, or you'll stretch your legs out long, lift your knees away from the ground. Bring your attention back to your breath. Just make sure that you are moving through full, continuous circulation. Inhale, exhale, right back into your inhale again. And then lower your knees, lower your thighs, and we'll do just one cobra pose. Hands come out wide, lift up on a breath in, lower down with your breath out. And then I'll give you two options. We're going to move into a quad stretch. So you can either do this on your forearms, or you can lay your head down onto the pillow of your hands. So being up on the forearms tends to be a little bit more of an intense stretch for our quad. I'm going to demonstrate that variation, but just know that you can do the same thing with your hand as your pillow on your forehead. If you're taking the forearm variation, you're going to lift up your right hand, you're going to move it over toward the left wrist. This puts the forearm at a diagonal, a little more stable position. We're going to reach forward with our left arm. You're going to roll open, reach back. Notice how my hip lifts to get a good solid grip on my foot, but then you're taking your hips back down to the ground. You're squaring your chest out toward the space in front of you. And there's no shame, once again, of taking this stretch either on your abdomen, or you can even take it into a side lying position. I want you to choose the option that allows you to keep breathing continuously. When a stretch is too intense, we know it right away because our breath stagnates, our breath kind of stops. All right, release. We'll set ourselves up for our second side. Again, taking one of the three options. If you're on your forearm, you're going to reach up and around, take hold of your foot, recenter your hips and your shoulders, but you're also welcome to be lower or to be on your side. All right, release from there. You're going to come back up into a tabletop position. Find a cat stretch, rounding your back upward. Tuck your chin toward your chest. And then downward dog. Okay, start to walk your feet up toward the top of your mat. Slide your hands up to your shins, take a breath in, and then exhale, come back into your deeper stretch. Bend your knees, feel solid and stable down through the feet. Stretch up high, breathe in, hands high above your head. Exhale your hands down through center line. Widen your stance once again, just taking your feet out a little broader than your hip distance apart. relax your hands down at your sides. Okay, from here, turn the thumbs out. The palms of your hands are kind of showing forward out in front of you. We're gonna raise our arms up to a T. Now, with a bend in your knees, you're gonna lean back a little, get really broad through the chest, and as you exhale, you're gonna round your back and bring your hands close together. Inhale, expansive across the chest, stretch your arms out wide. Exhale, rock your body weight toward your heels, bring your hands together in front of you. Inhale, arms come out wide, feel a shift of your body weight toward your toes. Exhale, body weight toward the heels, hands come toward one another. And just one more time, just playing a little with our balance and our breath. Inhale, expand. Exhale, draw your hands in close, weight comes into the heels. Relax your arms down, take a few circles of your shoulders. You might even shake your hands and your arms out. This new virtual world is a challenging one for me. It's a highly uncomfortable thing for me to do this via video. So I hope you guys are forgiving with your viewing of it. All right, so from here we're gonna work our feet back in. We're gonna step back to lunge. So you're gonna leave your right foot forward. You're gonna step your left foot back. And remember, we tend to step a little shorter than we should. So really make sure that your left foot is back pretty far. You're gonna keep your hands on your hips for a moment just to think of squaring your hips straight out in front of you. Bend your back knee, and then relax your hands down at your sides. You're gonna take a breath in, raise your arms above you, come up alongside the ears, and then shift your arms so that you're stretching your hands straight out in front of you. We're gonna interlace our grip. The palms of our hands are kind of showing toward our chest to start. And then we turn the palms of the hands out in front of us. Now as you extend your arms, you're gonna lean forward, you're gonna press your hands out ahead of you, and you're gonna kick your back leg straight. Hold here, breathe here. Rebend your elbows, rebend your back knee, come upright. And then you can, as an option, stretch your hands up high above your head. Just be cautious with any kind of shoulder discomfort or injury that you might be experiencing. Slowly unlace your hands. You're gonna release your arms all the way down near your sides. See if you can interlace your hands back behind your hips. If not, no problem. You're gonna stack your hands at your hips. One more breath. Slowly release, bring your hands down to the floor. Now, turn sideways. You're gonna just walk your hands over so that you're in a wide leg stretch. As I always say to you guys when we're able to do this in person, if the floor feels too far away, like it's too far for you to touch comfortably, try taking your feet out just a little bit wider. If that is too intense on your inner thighs or your hamstrings, grab something that you can set under your hands that makes the floor a little more accessible. Take a couple of breaths. If you're not getting quite a deep enough stretch, then you're gonna start to fold forward. You're gonna start to envision that your chest is moving into the space between your legs. And then work your way back up to your fingertips. We're gonna turn our left toes out. Forgive me, I'm not mirroring you guys right now. Left toes are gonna come out. You're gonna walk your hands over in that direction. You're just in a side lunge. You're moving your hips back. You're keeping your chest higher than your hips. And probably where you're feeling this is in the inner thigh and hamstring of this leg, maybe a little bit of a hamstring on this side. Now, add to that, if you'd like, just an option of taking your left hand, pressing it to the top of your left thigh. Doing a little bit of twist. And then come back across center. We're gonna do that same thing on the other side. The right toes turn out a little. You're gonna bend the knee. And you can add the rotation. So your right hand comes to the top of your right thigh. You push against it. Keep breathing. If your breath is suffering, you know that you may have gone in a little too deep. You might need something under your hand. And then just turn back toward the top of your mat. some challenge. We're gonna scoot the back foot in just a little. You're gonna walk your hands forward. You're gonna come up to a warrior 3, but with your hands still at the ground. Bend your right knee as much as you need it. And see if you can take your hands to your thigh. Lift your chest and your head a little higher. You can let the back leg come down a little lower. Then, see if you can stand up nice and slow, maybe even hover your left leg, draw it forward a bit. Set both feet down to the ground. Take a slow breath in. You can stretch your arms up high. And then exhale your hands down at your sides. Body weight comes into your left foot. You're gonna step your right foot back really long into a lunge. You can always use a little support of something next to you for balance if you'd like it. And then we're gonna move through that sequence that we did on the other side. So start with your arms up alongside the ears. Then reach forward through your fingertips. You're gonna interlace your hands, pull the hands in toward your heart. So it's almost like you're holding an invisible ball in your arms. Then turn the palms forward. You're gonna press your hands straight out ahead of you, hinge at your hip, totally straighten and strengthen your back leg. Breathe. Breathe in your elbows. You're gonna come upright, and to do so, you bend the back knee. If you want to take this next option, you can press your palms straight up above you. Otherwise, just keep breathing and balancing in your lunge. Release your hands down. Interlace them or stack them at the back of the hips. Stretch open across the chest. One more breath here. Slowly release your hands down. You're going to turn sideways again into your wide leg stretch. For the sake of giving you the better view, I don't know how to describe it, I'll turn in the opposite direction. So just come to your wide leg stretch again. This time we're going to be a little more dynamic with our side-to-side lunge. So both toes turn out just a little bit. And again, you can always have something under your hands, but you're just shifting side to side. Okay, the next time that you move over toward the front of your mat, you're just going to keep going in that direction. Your left foot's going to be forward, of course. And then you're going to walk your back foot in. You're going to press up into that L shape, that grounded airplane. And then hands to your thigh. Lift your chest. Lock your eyes to something out in front of you that's not going to move. Slowly rise up. Breathe. Set your foot down to the floor. Stretch your arms up overhead. Take a deep breath in. And then exhale your hands down. Bring your hands all the way down by your sides. You can close and open your fists. And then we're going to make our way back down to a seat. So I'll come up closer to the camera once again. And you can do this in a chair, just as we did before, if you did so, or you can do this on the floor, in a comfortable seat. So we'll do a stretch for our neck. You're going to take your left ear over toward your left shoulder. You're going to take your right hand back behind you. So the back of the hand is going to come against the back of your hips. And then from there, you'll reach your left arm up and around. I'm just resting my hand at the side of my head, kind of behind my ear. And you're going to turn and look down. Now, if any of this causes discomfort, you do not need to pin your hand behind you. You can simply set the hand down at your side. Now, as you release, you're going to take your top arm all the way down to the floor. We're going to lean in that direction. We're going to revisit the side stretch we did at the start of class. Stretch your hand high. You might lean a little farther now, and if you're taking a little deeper stretch, you're going to drive your thumb back behind you and stretch your arm alongside the ear. Come all the way back to center. We're going to switch sides. Your right ear is going to come down and over. You're just tilting your head to the side. You can bring the hand behind you, or you can set it off next to the hips. Right arm's coming up and around. You're resting your hand, the weight of your hand. You're not pulling or pressing. You're just resting it there behind your ear. Look down. And then release. Top arm, the hand's going to come down. You're going to lean toward the right. You're going to stretch either straight up with the arm, or if you're taking that deeper stretch, notice that you turn your thumb back behind you. So the shoulder itself is in external rotation in this one, if you're taking that deeper version. And then come all the way back to center. We're going to keep our right leg drawn in, trying to keep my eye on the time here. Keep your right foot drawn in. Extend your left leg out. Then you're going to turn your chest in the direction of your bent knee, in the direction of your right leg. Stretch your hand out toward your left foot, and then just open your chest. And we're not going to worry about lifting our arm. We're going to keep our hand at our thigh, or keep your hand at your hip. And you're going to keep your chest open, but you're going to turn and look down toward your kneecap. And then slowly release. Switch sides. Take your left foot in, stretch your right leg out long. You're going to turn your chest in the direction of your bent knee. You're going to slide your right arm straight down toward your foot. Don't have to get to the foot. We're not going to worry about raising the arm. You're simply going to keep your hand at your thigh or your hip, but you're going to keep opening through the chest. And again, be aware, hold your attention at your breath, and see if you could feel the movements of your breath into your rib cage. Turn and look down as you keep your chest open. All right, slowly come upright. Bring the soles of your feet together to touch. Bound angle. So we create an angle with our legs. We bind it with the soles of our feet coming together. Your knees might feel like they're way up here, but you're just pressing your feet into one another, and this engages our outer hips and helps to start to draw the legs out a little wider. You do not necessarily need to come forward to get a stretch here. You might even take your hands back by your hips and just think of sitting up as tall as you can. Then we're going to use a little help from our hands to close the gap between our knees. Take the knees in close. I'll turn sideways here. Boat pose. So either keeping your feet on the ground or grabbing hold of the back of your legs and lifting your feet high. You're going to balance on your butt, keep your chest open, lean back enough that you feel a challenge to your core. So if you feel the challenge here, sitting with your feet on the floor, maybe you just take your hands away from your legs and you continue to lean back and breathe and feel strength at your core. If you need more than that, you can hover your feet. If you need more than that, you're going to press your feet out. You're going to lean back even farther. But keep the chest open, keep your throat open, keep your chin lifted. Maybe you shake and tremble a little bit. Maybe you guys don't because you're way stronger than I am. You're going to come back into that kind of grounded position. And then we're going to come onto our back and do a hip stretch from here. So this is a little different. We're going to do two different stretches for our hip. And the first you're probably familiar with, just a figure four. But the second one gets a little bit more complex. So you're going to start with the soles of your feet onto your mat. Let's start with our right leg just coming up toward the ceiling. You're going to circle your ankle. Find a gentle hamstring stretch first. So take the hands up toward the thigh or to the calf. And then you're going to cross your ankle over top of your left thigh. So we create this figure 4 shape with our legs. Interlace your grip at the back of your thigh. And you can straighten the leg up. You can keep the leg bent. I want you to find what feels like the best stretch for you at your right hip. That's the one we're hoping to stretch here. Now, we're gonna take this shape of our legs. First, we're gonna lower the left heel down toward the back of our hips. We're gonna take the shape of our legs, and we're gonna just tilt it over to the side. So the sole of my right foot is coming down toward the floor. I'm rolling my legs over to the left. My right knee is pointed up toward the ceiling as much as possible. My left leg is resting on the ground as much as possible. And then you can reach your right arm out. I like to hang on to my ankle or my foot just to hold it in place so it doesn't slide away from me. And in this position, we come back to the breath. So just think of the chest and the abdomen rising with your inhale, using a little bit of muscular engagement to press your breath out of your body. And then come back to center. Now stretch your right leg all the way up. You're going to lower your right leg down to your mat. Bring your left knee in toward you. Just give the knee a hug. Circle your hip around. And then come into a twist. You're going to guide your knee all the way across and over. You're going to stretch your left arm out. It can be low, it can be high. You can create a cactus position or a goal position with your arm. And then come back to center. Place both feet onto your mat with your knees bent. You're going to take your left leg up. You're going to interlace your hands to the back of the leg. Just get a real brief hamstring stretch. I like to circle my ankle as I'm taking this stretch because it really changes what I feel in my calf. Good ankle mobility, especially for you guys that wear heavy boots and are kind of on your feet all day. Cross your ankle. Take the shape of your legs in. Again, you can take the option of reaching your foot up high or keep the foot down low. I actually get a better stretch when I'm about halfway between the two. All right, let's take the shape of our legs over to the right. Sole of your left foot is on the floor. This knee is kind of aiming to be up toward the ceiling. I'm hanging on to my foot to keep it in place. Left arm comes out away from you. And you have a lot of space. You're getting a good stretch through the hips, but you have plenty of space to take a calm, deep breath. Come back to center. Reach your left leg up. Take the left leg all the way down onto your mat. Right knee comes in. Just find a little hip joint mobility. Good. Breathe. Stay with me. Hopefully you guys haven't lost interest and gone to the kitchen to get a bowl of cereal. Just, watching a little stretch TV video. So stay with me. We're almost wrapped up here. So just getting a good spinal twist, stretch. And then come back to center. Bring both knees toward your chest. You might close your eyes, take a couple more deep breaths. And then hold on to your hamstrings, rock and roll your way up to a seat. And then we're gonna close our session today, interlace your hands, place the hands on top of your head, so it's almost like you're wearing a hand hat of sorts. You decide where your elbows feel most comfortable. You might narrow the elbows, you might widen the elbows. Do what feels best for your shoulders and your neck. Think of just sitting up as tall as you can. Breathing into your rib cage, especially at your sides. And then with your next inhale, you're just going to start to draw the hands up away from the head. Release the interlacing of your fingers, reach up tall. One more deep inhale. Relax your hands down as you exhale your breath out. All right, thank you everybody for taking part today. Feel free to utilize this resource. You should have access to it if you want to make this even part of your regular routine. That would be awesome. Again, really hoping and looking forward to seeing you all in person for our next session, hopefully. And in the meantime, if you have any interest to, kind of do this on a more regular basis, I not only work for Larimer County, but I also teach yoga classes through Old Town Yoga Studio here in Fort Collins. So if you have any interest in participating in those and have the availability in your schedule, we're doing live classes there from the space of the studio. So would love to have you join in on any of those classes if you have an interest at all. Till then, feel free to reach out to me with any questions or to get additional wellness resources. My name's Andrea Bilderback, for those of you that I am a brand new face for you, but great to spend a little time with you virtually, and again, can't wait to see you in person again. All right, take care, bye.